We are coming to you from a dumpy little garage in the San Fernando Valley.
I'm Brandon, he's Ryan, and welcome to Bridging Otacos. We got it on the first try, baby! Woo!
Awesome.
That was a crappy high five, but you know what?
It was really crappy. It got me all like on my fingertips.
It's like, hi. See, this is because I don't have my glasses. I'm like, wait, where's your hand?
I thought you could see me from this distance.
I can see you, not well. Again, it's 360p.
Yeah. So, some things that we learned from from our test run, because this is the first official video on our channel. But our test run was actually pretty good. We might put that in a special one day if you guys care enough to see what we did on our first dirty go. Because it was really dirty.
It was.
I mean, it's still pretty dirty.
Yeah, honestly, it's just
we're not fully. I mean, we're set up enough, right?
You know what? We are starting. We are progressing. Yeah. That is the important thing.
The point is to step forward and not stay stationary. So that's what we're trying to do right now.
Exactly.
Is just bring what we want to light and have fun doing it. But yeah, so I already want to start talking about what the podcast is and the name and all that. But the thing is, we have an outline. We're trying to be professional here and kind of stay on topic. So are we going to talk about that? Or
well, I think it'll go into it because it's in the name, it's everything, and it's one of our roots. It's what the channel is, and as well, from the first episode, you guys are getting to know us.
Yeah.
Some of you may be coming from my channel, which I really do appreciate. Hi guys! How's everybody going? But a lot of people might be stumbling across it. So it's just like getting to know what the name of the channel is, and obviously it's Bridging Otacos, and you might be wondering what that means. So when it comes to the name Bridging Otacos, originally we were going to have it called Bridging Anime.
Right.
But the thing is, we thought that would be too, not generic, but like too much in a box.
Yeah, it would limit us more than it would allow us to be expressive in what we want to do, considering our backgrounds, our ethnicity, our culture, and obviously being otakus, which is a culture in itself.
Yeah.
We really wanted to resonate with the audience where we come from.
Exactly.
Which obviously it's for everybody, right? Anime, otaku life culture, what it encompasses. And I'm not saying that we are like the definition of otakus, right?
And speaking of
I'm trying to say otakus now and not otakus.
Because we're like used to it. Because the actual definition of otaku is, in Japan, a young person who is obsessed with computers or particular aspects of popular culture to the detriment of their social skills.
Detriment of social skills.
That's what I was laughing earlier.
Like,
it's so true.
It's so true, but it's not us though. We don't have detrimental social. I mean, I wouldn't consider our social skills to be detrimental.
For me, it really depends what mood I'm in, because for the most part, my social skills can be zero. I will be that mute in the corner at a party. If there is a dog, I will be with the dog and not socialize to a single person. I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine in my own little paradise. But a different definition is people with consuming interest, particularly in anime, manga, video games, or computers. And the thing is, that's why Bridging Otacos fit so much better, because Bridging Otakus, we're not just solely people that like anime.
Right.
That is one aspect of Japanese culture that we really do love and really do admire, as you can obviously see. But if you can also see, you see the skyline. Ryan is really big into JDM cars and cars in general. Yeah. I would like to get into it a little bit more.
I'm so much into it that I've built my own race cars, right? I'm a dad now, so race cars are gone at the moment. They will come back one day.
But through me, if I buy one.
Through us. It'll be a special on the channel. How about we
that would be so
you guys want to see a full tuner build? Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, and then we'll try to make that happen.
If this video gets 10,000 likes,
right, exactly.
I will put a loan on my house.
And we do it ourselves, as you can tell.
Yeah, basically. It's just like I'll be a grease monkey, he'll be a tuner, because I'll probably be sitting there like a kid with a flashlight being like, so what am I doing exactly?
Oh, dude, I'll try to find the picture. I think my brother has it. I was changing an exhaust system in my parents' front yard on one of my first race cars. And it took me so long. I'm on the concrete. It was in the summer. I'm shirtless. And I'm fully sunburned on my back because I was underneath the car at an angle, right? And I'm trying to like, and if you don't know, if you're not a car guy, when you have rusted, seized bolts, it's literally like you have to go to like the next level. You gotta Goku up, bro. You gotta go Super Saiyan, like all blood pressure to your fingertips. And then eventually you slip and you punch the hardest piece of metal you've ever found in your life straight into no gloves, nothing, because you need the room. and just that's it. You bust your knuckles open.
And you're just like.
Anyway, yeah. So again, this is why we didn't want to call it bridging anime, right?
Exactly.
And again, the bridge is because we're bringing together our cultures, right? Our culture, we're both Latinos. We're both from different ethnic backgrounds of Latino.
Yep.
In case y'all Americans don't know, not everyone is Mexican. Right? And that's another thing too. Like I can say that because I love country music.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm proud to be an American, dude. Like I really am. Like so, like it doesn't like when people say like, oh, you're from here, you can't do this. I don't subscribe to that. Like I'm not like nah, dude. Like right before you came, I had sushi.
There you go.
Right, I had sushi for the first time in like months because Brittany was pregnant and now she's starting to crave it again. Right. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go get some sushi at Katsuya. So we went to the Katsuya in, can't say the city because, you know.
Obviously. Doxing.
The CIAs of the internet will figure out where we live. And it is from a dumpy little garage in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah. We love you guys, but at the same time, a bit of privacy.
We don't want you here yet.
Yeah. We'll do conventions.
Well, I'm down to meet people.
That would be
I'm so down to meet people.
That would be so much fun because, like, again, the main aspect of this whole thing is the bridge.
Yeah, bridging.
Oh, mosquito.
Was that a mosquito? Dude, I keep like swatting away stuff. Like, dude, it's gonna. You know what's funny? When we upgrade studio, we're gonna be like, we missed the bugs.
We're just gonna be like, man,
we're no longer in the dumpy garage, you know, like. And just so you know how we are really Latinos. We did the drywall ourselves.
Hey, yeah. You can still see the pencil mark from way to the outlet.
That was the first cut.
Yes,
we were so happy.
When we cut this thing open, we were just like, oh, we got it. It is unlocked and it is perfect.
Watch episode 10 be like freeze frame of the wall falling on us.
Just, ah! Dude. But that's the thing that we love because it's the cultures, because a lot of Latinos do love anime as well. And the weird thing is, people don't necessarily talk about it. You don't necessarily think about it.
Yeah.
Which
again, we are doing this.
Yes.
Kind of as we go now, because we've both learned we cannot be perfectionists. Because if it was up to me, this whole thing would be done by now, and we'd have set up and everything. Because I went to college for media production, right? So I'm very like, okay, this set has to be done. Right, it has to be ready to go, and it has to stay this way. But I've also learned that no progress is no progress. Right, it doesn't matter. Like we can have all the perfect everything, and then we start rolling with it, and then it's like, oh, we don't like this, we don't like that. We're still gonna change it. Yeah. Right. So
you just have to go for it.
Yeah, and that's something you do. You're good at that. You're good at just going for it because you're obviously already have your own channel. I've been thinking about doing my own channel for the last at least 5 years.
Wow.
At least. And when I saw you and I met you, I was like, this has to be a sign, man. Like this has to be a sign. Like, and he like the second I kind of pitched you the idea, you're like, awesome, I'm down. That sounds so cool. And I was like, okay. What more do I need other than like. That's it. Like, you know, like no excuses now.
And then the rest is history. Here right now.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who don't know, my channel is The Messy Express. We'll get back to the topic of the name of this channel, but the reason my channel is called The Messy Express, and for people that were around before it was called that, it was called The Messy Expression.
Yeah.
And the reason behind the name was I wanted to just upload. I wanted to live life because most of the time I spent what most kids would do. I watch Minecraft YouTubers and I watch vlogs and I watch things about Japan. I watch all these YouTubers living life. And one day it kind of clicked where I'm like, I'm watching life go by. I'm not actually doing anything in life.
That's good. And you realize that.
Yeah, and I was at anime convention and something was just like, you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, literally just whip out your phone. What is stopping you?
Yeah.
So I literally, if you see my first video at the anime convention, all of that is literally filmed on my camera. Funny story. I know you're supposed to film it vertically. I mean, not vertically, horizontally. I filmed it all vertically.
Why?
I don't know. It just didn't click in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm recording. It's awesome. And I look back at the footage. I'm like, oh no, Brandon.
You know what? Like, and that's the fact that you filmed it vertically. I know your age. You know my age.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you filmed it vertically tells me pretty much, I could pretty much guess your age already. Like for those of them who don't know, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to leave that up to interpretation for a little while. You guys are going to figure out pretty quickly. But
probably
it's a fun little game to play, like, how old's Brandon? How old's Ryan? Wait a minute.
Detective work.
What are their ethnic backgrounds?
If you get all of my countries, like my ethnic backgrounds that I know of, good crisp handshake. I was gonna say something ridiculous, but I'm just like, what if someone actually does figure it out?
I'm a pretty. I mean, you know your ethnic backgrounds, lineage.
For the most part, yeah.
I don't.
Oh.
Like, I know the main, like, up to like my great grandmother, great grandfather, on both sides of my parents.
Okay.
But
past that, it's just mystery.
And they'll probably figure it out because, like, what other country had no documentation of immigrants coming in? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, yeah, whoever wants to come can come. Like, like. So anyway, yeah, like we'll see. Cause I get some pretty out there stuff. Like, like if they don't know what I am already, we haven't said our last name, so it'd be hard to figure that out without it.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is, it's hard to kind of even imagine me or you being Latino in the most part. Like, if someone sees
our first
me
names,
and then they go, Ryan, and I've never been told directly, oh, you look Hispanic, right? I don't know if you have.
I've gotten Hispanic. When I have a beard, I get Middle Eastern.
Okay. Same with me.
Which is really funny, in my opinion.
I don't get Hispanic, and usually don't. Unless it's someone that knows my family or something like that, you know what I mean? Then they're like, oh yeah, we know who your grandfather was or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like, okay.
They can like figure out.
Yeah.
And that's like, again, a core to us. We're not here being like, trying to shove in your face, being like, oh yeah, we're Hispanic, we're Latino, like, like, this is why you should watch us.
That's just where our experiences come from.
Exactly.
Right? And our relation to life and anime and the otaku culture and what it encompasses, right? Everyone like I've said it before, everyone that I know more or less has watched some type of anime and they don't even know that it's anime, right? And they like it and they don't know why, and they're all from different cultures, they're all from different backgrounds, different races, whatever.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what it's bridging Otacos.
Yeah.
It's to bring everyone together, but tacos because we're Latino.
And we just thought
that's where we're coming from, you know? That's just where we're coming from, you know?
Yeah, so we're Latinos, it's like Otacos. It's pretty damn funny if you think about it.
And I've always, like, when we were thinking of the name and I'm like looking, I was like, let's play with some stuff right here, let's figure this out. Like, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've always, you know, like, because one of my usernames for one of my accounts, right, used to be Otaku Tacos, right? Because I'm like, that was funny.
Yeah.
And then so when we were thinking of the name, like, wait a minute, we could use that. Like, you know, it's unique to anything I've ever seen. So I'm like, why not? Like, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then I literally threw it at you as like a joke, and you're like, dude, that sounds pretty good. Like, I think it'll work. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it.
And it's fun. It's like funny. Like, we tell your friends, it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this thing called bridging otakus. They're like, you mean otakus? Like, no, otacos. They'll be like, what? It's like, you just get to say it multiple times.
And it's a conversation starter, which is fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, even my black friends would be like, oh, I get it, right? Yeah. Because you're Latino. Like, yeah. Oh, funny.
Dude, literally, like, I gotta tell my friend John, like, I love him, but he always makes a joke, like, or it's just like, oh, are you Hispanic? He's like, oh, no, he's Mexican. I'm like, you Korean? It's like, you North Korean. He's just like, yes. I'm like, we're so stupid. But
That's funny.
It's so much fun when you have those friends of like different backgrounds, because it's all so different. Like how you have your black friends, and we're Latinos. I have friends from Korea. I have friends from the Philippines. I have friends from, no, they're Chinese, not Japanese. There was one time I could not remember the word ethnicity or like background. I just couldn't remember. I'm like, what are you? Straight up, like, what are you? He's like, I'm Chinese. He's like, what are you? I'm like, that's a whole long question. But it's so much fun having that many people in your atmosphere that you take little pieces from cultures that you love and that you appreciate, and you kind of just bring that as a part of you. And that's why, for us, a big culture that we love, obviously, from this podcast is just Japan.
Yeah.
And it's many different things, because if it was just like, if it was just anime, again, we'd be weebs.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really good segue into like our actual topic, right? For today. And
trust me, I am the king of segues sometimes.
Yeah.
Unless it's conversations with the girls. But,
so continue. So you're on a good one there. You're pretty much explaining why do you like the otaku culture. So
yeah, and the reason why I like it so much is it's all the aspects. Like for me personally, when I watch anime, everything shifted from maybe the second time I ever watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, is just the correct way to pronounce it. We'll get to that. I knew I'd upset you. But how Hideki Anno says that with that series, he wants people to look at the real world and look at themselves in a mirror. And that's what resonated so much with me, of thinking, looking at characters, seeing how they are, and looking at yourself and saying, what can I improve in myself? And that's what I love about anime. For me, it's the mirror or the lessons that there is to learn. Obviously, there's amazing stories, there's amazing shonen, like for example, I love the fight scenes in Naruto, I love the fight scenes in DBZ. For more recent anime, Windbreaker, my gosh, I love that anime right now.
That's a good new one.
It really is. New one.
It's a good new one, and it's a. Is it a shonen?
I think it might be.
Is it considered? Why? It's just because if they fight?
I think so,
because. Don't get me wrong, not to cut you off, but Rurouni Kenshin or Samurai X in America, as it came into Toonami, was called. Is it? Is that a shonen? No, but there's tons of fighting in it, right?
That is true. Maybe because if I remember correctly, the word shonen in Japanese means young boy. So, if I remember correctly,
so
we'll have someone fact check it. So it might be that sort of.
Does it have to be a coming of age story?
Maybe it might be that demographic. Because if you think about it, DBZ, I know Naruto for sure is a shonen.
Well, the whole plot of Naruto is coming of age.
Literally, so
which is why it's my top 2. It's in my top 2.
We'll go.
We've explained that before.
We'll go into 3x3s eventually. That'll probably be a whole different episode, because that's
a whole
us
episode in itself.
Talking about 9 of our personal animes. They may not be considered the best. It might not be like the pinnacle, like if you're on my anime list, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But it's something that is special to us in certain ways.
I feel like my anime list is it's like the cool kids group at school. Like whatever their opinion is, that's what makes it.
That's cool, everybody goes with the flow.
Which is like, and we're kind of talking about it right now. You know, why do we love why do we love the otaku culture, right? And what some of mine are, it just gave cool vibes, right? There's a massive mosquito just flying right above us.
Oh jeez.
Can it like leave? Can
you just stay up there, please? That's all I ask.
Anyway, it's what for me. It's the community, right? It was a community that it brought when I was younger. Granted, those who knew I liked anime, I would consider to still be my best friends to this day, right? Those who didn't know, but they still were my friends, but I knew that if they knew, they would judge me differently.
Yeah.
It was different back then, dude. It wasn't like you can openly say like this, like, oh, I really like anime, I really like Naruto, I really like, stuff DBZ, whatever, and be like, what, like, and I've said this before, like, oh, you like anime, that cartoons that scream,
Yeah.
and it's like, if
It's
that,
not
I
just
can't
that.
explain the depth to you if that's all you see. You know what I mean? And these things are always gonna be burp. So with that being said, like that was one of the main things why the otaku culture always, and I didn't even know I was an otaku at that point, right? I just liked the stuff. I liked, Pokemon. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh. I liked, what else was Gundam,
Digimon.
right? Digimon.
Classic for kids animes in the morning.
And that's the nostalgia part. Is like, I remember getting up on the weekend and being like, oh, I get to watch my shows, right? And it was fun.
Yeah.
Right? And then it also brought me into art. It literally taught me how to draw. The first good piece of art I ever drew was Goku.
Nice.
Right? Completely destroyed the laws of artwork, right? As you should, that video to me was hilarious, by the way. Like the face anatomy, I'm like, that is so funny. Like if you were to draw Goku and anatomically correct, he'd look like he has like the most sunken in smashed face.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So like that part of the culture really, that's what really drew me in first, right? And then I don't have to get so deep and like philosophical with everything because it's not. Dude, it just was so dang cool.
Yes.
Right? Like compared to like what else they were bringing into the American media machine, right? At that time for cartoons in general. Like I remember vividly the first time I got introduced to anime.
Oh, you do?
I remember, dude. Like I will never forget it.
Okay.
I was bored. It was after school, right? I was flipping through channels, and I didn't even know, like, I think Cartoon Network was channel 55 in the United States.
Ooh, okay. Did you have AT&T? No, what cable provider? I swear
I have no idea, dude. I didn't pay the bills at that point, so I know. I'm just like, I did my homework. I'm like, okay. And then, my dad was tired, so he was asleep. So I was like, cool, I get the TV now.
Yeah.
In my house there was one TV, and that was it until later. So I flipped through the channels, and then it's the episode where Goku and Vegeta are fighting in season 1.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
This is after Goku gets wished back by the Dragon Balls, and he finishes his first training with King Kai.
Oh.
So he learned Kaioken.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know this at that point though. All I did was turn on the TV, flip, and I'm like, what is this? Why? Because the artwork kind of drew me in. I was like, that's different. That's not cartoon. Okay, I'll watch it. I'm sitting there. And then I just see Goku standing on this monument like pillar, stone pillar, right? And he's like, his shirt's ripped to like nothing, and he's ripped, right? And I'm just like, what is this? Just
beefy.
Just like, this looks cool. And he's bleeding, which I've never seen blood in a cartoon at that point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, just like, wow. Cool fact, it's cool.
The rule,
you don't have to be so like intellectual about it all. Like it was so damn cool to me, right? And I'm just like, what is it? Okay, I'm gonna watch this, right? And then so I sit there, and then I see Vegeta, and he's like mouthing off to Goku, right? And then Goku just like, he does his stance, right? His like signature and I didn't know that's a karate stance,
yeah,
right? Get ready to fight stance, and he gets it, and he just lights up, energy field around him, dude, and I'm like, what is going on? He's on fire! And then he's just screaming, and like gravity's going crazy, and things are shaking, and I'm just doing my key meter was like, ah! And then he just lights up, boom! He just lights up into Kaioken, right? And I'm like, what's going on? And then speed, right? Speed is Dragon Ball. I don't care what you say. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball maybe not. Dragon Ball Z. Set the parameters and set the standard for who is fast in anime. Okay? Before that, in America, in the comic books and all that stuff, and in like Superman and Flash cartoons, they did not do a good job of initiating speed.
No, there was no. It's like punches with no weight behind them.
Yeah.
It's like speed is a very precise.
It's hard to perceive, right? And I don't know how they did it. I could probably analyze it now and figure it out. So Goku goes Kaioken, and he just like I can't explain it other than the right, and within like a half second, he's in front of Vegeta, and Vegeta's just like what, and it's the signature just cocked back, just full melee, just wham! Him, Vegeta just goes flying. I'm like, ah! What is this? This is insane, right? And I had loved Jackie Chan movies before then, so like karate, I liked karate, right?
Yes.
And then he's wearing a sash, and I'm like, what is going on? It just hit all the golden nugget points, right? And I'm just like, dude, I was like, what time is it? And how do I get back to this?
You're like,
because it ended like, you know, they're gonna know how old I am now.
Yeah.
But back then, you couldn't be like rewind.
No,
right?
no rewind.
And no like, oh, I'm gonna just save it for later. I'm gonna see what season I'm on. Like, no, it was like, dude, you need to like. And I figured out like, okay, it's 5:30. Maybe it's not at 5. And the next day, I ran home. And keep in mind, this is the time that Toonami didn't air it every day.
Oh.
Toonami was only aired at 5 o'clock, starting on Fridays.
For the weekends.
No.
Or just Friday?
Just Friday.
Oh, okay.
At 5 o'clock. It started. And Dragon Ball Z was the first episode that they put on to get people on, because then after that they had Sailor Moon, and then they didn't have Gundam Wing until later, but then they had Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, I still need to watch
right?
Yu Yu Hakusho.
I think that's it. And I think they used to have some of the anime movies, but I never watched them because those did look kind of kiddish and Disney to me, which I'm sure, you know, House and Castle is goated. So like true. It's like they're still good. They just weren't what I was looking for at that time.
Right.
So long story short, I know that was a big tangent, but that's why actually no, it's not a tangent. That's why I love it. Right? Because people who saw that, and I could just look at them and go, wow. They know. And they were like, ah.
It's like that inside
you watch it too, you know? So the culture, right? And then, you know, the artwork, it's a continuous circle, right? So like, and this is anime, but otaku culture, for example, I started like, you know, back at when I got into cars, I started learning like, okay, a lot of these cars I like, they're from Japan, just like the shows I like. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I started seeing cars with Goku decals on it, cars with Gundam decals, right?
Just
they call the GTR, they call it Godzilla.
Yes.
Right?
The 32.
So I'm like, okay, I watched my dad had VHSs of the stop motion Godzillas.
Really?
And he knew they were from Japan. Oh. But he never told me. And maybe it's because in America the Toonami, they were dubbed, so they were in English.
Rather than
so he never realized like, oh, he's watching a Japanese thing, right? Or a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah.
He just thought that they were cartoons. Yeah, I watch cartoons, okay, whatever, right? And yeah, so that's you know, there's more I could talk about, but we'll continue because that's one of the main reasons, dude. I will never, if I could find artwork of Goku cocked back in that original 2D animation, just full Kaiokened out, just muscles blaring, everything. That's just like, to me, I don't think any scene has impressed me as much as that one shot.
And that's what makes it so special, and I'm honestly kind of a little jealous. Yeah. Because when you were saying how your dad, like, oh, he had the original Godzilla, but he didn't trace together it was anime or it was from Japan or stuff like that. Yeah. I grew up in the time where I didn't have access to the internet, so I couldn't look up and see what it was.
There was no internet when I was watching it.
Yeah. And
we had dial-up. So, like, we couldn't be on the computer when someone was on the phone. Yeah. Back
in that time.
We're going to have a very broad audience. So, like, you know, just so you guys know, back in the early 90s, even in just the 90s in general, you could not be on the internet and on your phone at the same time because this did not exist. This is not a phone. This is a supercomputer.
Yeah, you had the brick. Or the brick was later.
The brick was... Dude, I didn't get a brick until I was in 8th grade. So I didn't have a cell phone. Yeah. And then it was prepaid and like dude, it was like... We could have a whole episode about that. Like, of just like things that are like have changed. But... The only way to watch anime was to get those, VHS. Which they did not have Blu-ray back then either. No. They were VHSs.
At your local library.
At a library, which it's just way different, right? Yeah. And in a way, it kind of was, I wouldn't say it was better because we have more access now and there's more creativity going on, but it was like, this is another point that I have here is anime was not cool.
Right. It felt like you were a part of a
club. Special club, right?
And it was something that was you. Because anime now has become mainstream. A lot of people enjoy it. People that are now getting older and like athletes, influencers, and people like that, they grew up on anime. They like anime. So anime is becoming cool. It felt nice on a time when it was something where this is me. This is something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And it took courage and like confidence in yourself of saying, no, this is what I like. And it felt like, I don't know, like saying that you liked anime felt like a growing up thing.
Yeah.
It felt like it might not be exactly like it, but it felt like you had your own anime-esque moment. You were like standing up and saying, no, I enjoy it, and this is part of me.
Yeah. And I don't care what you think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then finding your community, finding others that really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Obviously now with such a broader community, it's nice and enjoyable because now we have people on here that maybe you've watched one anime, maybe you watched 50, 100, you might know the most niche things ever to the most mainstream thing ever.
Yeah.
It's built this huge community, but I feel like there's enough depth within it where it's like an iceberg. You have the people on the top, and then the deeper and deeper you go, the bigger and bigger it gets. Certain ones you're looking for. Yeah. Like, for example, some people, when you say Neon Genesis Evangelion, you might have some people like, oh, you're in the same category as Serial Experiment Lane, if you've ever heard of that.
No. Exactly. And I'm a really big anime fan. I've never heard of that. So, I mean, that's why I'm saying there's always something new to learn. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's why, to answer the first question, why do we like the otaku culture? That's why.
That's why. There's so many moments.
There's so many reasons why. Like, you can't just pinpoint one thing.
No.
And then
each person's
different. And it's a culture where it's like, I feel like the majority of people who are involved in it or like it, they want to share this experience. Like, oh, I watched something really good, I want to share it. I told, like you were saying Windbreaker, right? I'm like, I'm already watching it. But Mark hasn't watched it.
No, Mark.
And I'm like, Mark, watch it, dude, watch. Because I want to share that experience with him in watching it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it different than like a movie, right? Or even though a movie you still share experiences and everything, but anime goes deeper because you know that person's listening to the same dialogue you are, and that's resonating with you emotionally. So you kind of wonder if that hits them at that same mark. You're like, okay, we're friends. Yeah, it's kind of like it's not a friend gauge, but it's more like it's relatable on a different level than just consuming entertainment.
Right. You know? It's a passion. It's a part of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's like the big point that it is with the community. That wonderful aspect. Then as well, going to conventions. That's why people love like Comic-Con when it comes to comics and stuff like that. Yeah. We love Anime Expo because it's a place where you get more community. It's a place where you get to find out more stuff. You get to share things. Yeah. And honestly, that's the one big thing. There's not much gatekeeping. Yeah. It's literally like, no, we want to share this with you. All we ask is that you respect it.
That's so true, dude. I honestly, I didn't learn about gatekeeping until I got into a higher level of competitive sports in baseball, where it's like, what I would ask some of my teammates, like, oh, how'd you do that? And they're like, oh, I just figured it out. And I'm like, really? Yeah. You just learned how to dive and throw at the same time? Okay. Guess I'll figure it out myself too, right? And there's that whole thing, because it's competition and that's the type of stuff that it does rub me the wrong way, right? It's like, because I'm willing to share with people anything. Yeah. You know?
And it's especially if you're on the same team.
I always tell people this, especially with media, right? Media is it's complex, you know, and you're going through it right now too. You're learning stuff that you're like, what the heck? Yep. And I'm like, dude, I don't mind helping you. I don't mind hey, here's a hammer, right? Here's my hammer.
Let me show you exactly what is the best way to get this done.
Yeah, exactly. Here's my hammer. I'll show you how to do exactly what I do. It doesn't mean that you're going to do it the same way anyway. It doesn't, I don't get why. So again, gatekeeping in my experience actually deters creativity and it deters progress.
Exactly.
It does nothing for you or them. So why do it other than, oh, I just want to stay being cooler than everybody else. Well, you think you're cooler, right, than everybody else.
The funny thing is that brings up exactly, because probably by the time this goes live, I might have already released that video. I'm just double checking the camera, or I'm looking like a librarian. For me, it's one of the aspects I love about Windbreaker, because it's the difference between Choji, who is the leader of the Lion's Den.
I know where you're going with this.
Where he's like...
But do you see what I mean? We're relating already.
Exactly, like he's the lone wolf when Umemiya is like, no. You have no strength. Your punches have no weight behind them because you're not protecting somebody. You have no community. It is literally just you.
You have no values.
No values.
There's no value. There's no purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I love it, because like the opening line that I put was, if you want to go, and you even told me, I think you even told me this too, it's like, if you want to go somewhere fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go with others. Mm-hmm. And that's true. It's like, yeah, on your own, you could do whatever you want at your own pace, but if you're with others, it's just like, again, if I tried to do the podcast by myself, I would not know about the lights, I wouldn't know about the drywall, I wouldn't know about how to set up my camera, or anything like that. Yeah. And then, if you didn't have me, gosh, it sounds like I didn't do anything. I did my best. I stood here and looked pretty for
He gave me credit, so I'll give him his credit now. Without Brandon, I would not know how to structure our content. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of creativity, but I'm like a painter with no paintbrush. I'm like finger painting. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, let's do this. And then it's like, cool, nothing works. You know, Brandon knows a lot about, he has a good sense of community, right? You know how to, and this is why, we're from different generations, right? Mm-hmm. So he understands, he grew up naturally with the advent of the internet. Whereas me, I remember being told, we're no longer going to be teaching you guys how to produce media content with film. We're now going to show you, and when I mean film, like you guys think of it as like, oh, film is just a category. It's like, yeah, you're a film production, whatever, right? No, I mean like actual film. Right? My first, I'm trying to think of the wording here, but my first raw edit was on actual film. Oh, and really? I had to cut with a blade and use editing tape to put together. Now, we didn't have to do it that way, but you're learning about the beginning of the digital stuff, and I've had to learn about the beginning of where it came from. Ooh. And then my counselor told me, you or it's a counselor in college? Yeah. Is that a counselor? I don't know.
Guidance counselor, yeah.
No, the person that takes your money and tells you to take my classes. Was like, you need to do the digital stuff too because you get this, right? And I was like, I just want to make movies, right? And then they're like, no, like, this is where it's going. This is the new age. And I'm like, okay.
Like, okay, well, I got you.
Thank God I listened, right? Because that's why I know this stuff.
Right.
But what you know, they can't teach. They can't teach you how to build a community. They can't teach you where to go to connect with people, right? And like where you're telling like, oh, we should do, X, Y, and Z. You guys will see what we'll do. But I was like, okay, go for it. Like I'm not gonna push back on anything that you think we're gonna do as far as that goes, right? Because I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do it myself, right? And it is access to social, that social media stuff and all that. I get it. I know what to do with it. It's just.
You're a boomer?
Yeah, I'm a total boomer. Yeah. I'm just dyeing my hair black.
It's like I saw the men's like dye thing in the corner of the restroom.
Yeah, the men's dye. Just, gotta put my dentures in.
But yeah, so that's the big sense. It's bridging so many things together.
Yeah, and I think we're in a time right now where we're in a convergence where a lot of things are bridging together, right? Yeah. Cars. You got cars, software, fuel, technology, all converging into an automobile. That GTR is already considered a classic car.
Which is nuts, because I vividly remember the first movie I can remember in my mind watching is the first Fast and the Furious. So that is where I got my want to know about cars. Like, I didn't even know it was called a Skyline, and I still love this car when I saw it in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, and then, like, to be honest, Fast and Furious, from a production standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, from a media major standpoint, is a sucky movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It is. It's like...
It's a B film.
To me, it's an A+ film. It's a AAA, right? A AAA film for me. But in the eyes of the media people, this is not classy. This is whatever, right? It doesn't
the critique on this, the story can be better.
Exactly.
The film production, it doesn't give much artistic value.
How does he go 150 miles an hour and his hair is perfect?
What is danger to manifold?
Yeah, right? Exactly. You know what I mean?
I freaking love that line.
Like just anyway, like that's what I'm saying. Like, but that type of entertainment that actually speaks to imagination. That's what it is, right?
It sparks something within you.
It gets the creativity flowing in people, right? And that's why I love the otaku culture. You know what I mean? Like that's part of it. But I think we need to move on. That's our point 1.
Yeah, it's like we have like.
We could do a whole episode on. We could talk a lot. We this is why we had to do this podcast, is because we do this all the time, and we're like, let's just film it.
Let's bring people into it.
Let's bring it in. You know, like, we have a lot of buddies that want to like be here with us and actually do this too.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just make it a thing. You know. And by no means is it a boys' club. I mean, anyone can like this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Like,
but I just, truthfully, I haven't really met anyone other than your sister that actually likes this stuff.
My friend Kelly, she really likes it. There's a few friends that I have. One is still a closet weeb. She's just like, I will not admit I like anime to people. She's 26. 25.
That's not...
So it's like, it's that weird middle ground. But she just doesn't want to admit it. It's like, you know what? Fair enough. But
why do you think people... Why do you think they're still hesitant to... Or why do you think in general they actually were ever scared to tell someone that they like anime?
This is my thinking pose. It's like the freaking Shikamaru one. He's just like this. I think it's... One thing is always that pressure that sometimes it's like society. It's like also like the cool kids. Like, even though you're in school and you don't know the cool kids, at a certain point in time, you're like, no. Like, you got to be on good terms or vibes with them, even though you don't interact with them. And I felt something on my foot. No, we're fine.
But what do the cool kids, like...
So it was just what was cool and wanting to fit in. Because during our generations, the cool kids were the cool kids. Everybody had cliques. Everybody was there was hierarchy with everything.
Sure, they still do, but
actually
not to that extent.
Well, there is still a hierarchy, but people are a lot more accepting of people's like passions and interests and hobbies.
Well, that's what I have very young sister-in-laws. My wife is an only child. So my sister-in-laws, the oldest one is 16. So, or I think 17. 16, whatever.
Close.
Big difference, right? So much more mature at 17.
Oh my gosh.
So they tell me that. Like, I'll tell them like things that like, they're like, oh, you like anime? Big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like,
it was like different during that time.
And I told you this before. Back in my time, I was playing my Pokemon game at school, and I got a bag of chips dumped on my head for playing, right? Luckily for me, I know how to handle myself, right? So, I mean, that guy figured it out really quick, too. He never did that again. But that's what would happen back then, right? You would, and I don't know if anyone even says this still, but in a sense, you would get punked on, right? You get made fun of, right? You were considered a nerd, right? Whatever it may be. And you had to either ignore it find other people like that and just be in your corner, or you had to confront it. And I was one of the ones that confronted it, right?
Right.
But that's hard to do and it's rare. Most people didn't do that.
Right, because you were one of those rare weebs or otakus who are athletic.
Yeah,
like,
I also was an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an athlete. So it was just like you were the mix that was able to do that.
Yeah.
Not saying you have to be an athlete to be confrontational, but it's slightly easier because
Well, it builds confidence.
It builds confidence. For me, I can't wholly relate to that because I moved schools a lot due to situations.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't get sent to the principal's office that often. But I moved schools a lot, so I never really made friends that much. So I was never really engraved into any place where it was just like, oh, here's my passions. I like these things. I like these things. And I didn't even know it was anime. So it was you saying that to me, I'm like, I can kind of relate to some degree, but not fully. I can understand. But I was just like, oh yeah, these are cool cartoons. Like, I grabbed a Naruto VHS at the library and popped that into my little tiny square TV that had a little VHS thing that you could go boom. I still have that TV somewhere. That is going in my grave. I love that thing so much.
So Naruto turned you onto anime?
No, that was the thing. That is one memory I have of grabbing something that was anime but not knowing it was anime.
Huh.
I remember watching Naruto.
But you were drawn to it.
I was drawn to Naruto.
And you haven't asked why, right?
No, I was drawn to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Sonic X. That show gets dark in season 3, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, like some.
I've never seen.
Well, spoilers for season 3. Also, let me check and see if the camera's not overheating. Oh yeah, we're fine. We have like 2 more bars. But Sonic X apparently like season 3, like they never English dubbed it fully, but there's one scene where a character, because these are children, remember, she sacrifices herself in a jet. The U.S. version censored that. The Japan version kept that in. Where it's just like...
I've been, you know how like my history, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have more for the history stuff.
Ooh. But...
On censoring.
Like, Sanji with the lollipop instead of the cigarette. Like, those are like classic, like 4Kids ones. But I used to watch these anime and this media not knowing what it was until like 7th grade when I was sitting down with some of my best friends that I still talk to today. Hi guys, love you. I feel like the kid on TV like, hi mom, or whatever. But they were like, that's anime. And I'm like, oh, I've just been watching this the whole time. Like again, Digimon and others. So they're like, okay, let me recommend you an anime to watch. I'm like, okay. The first anime I remember watching that was anime. Oh, people are totally gonna get my age, and people are gonna be
I
like,
think they already figured mine out based on what I've been
they
saying.
probably figured it out. This is my absolute dead giveaway because I just said my grade and what anime it is now. Oh my gosh, but
You can bleep it out.
I could mystery. But as soon they were just like, watch SAO Sword Art Online, and that is the first anime I remember watching. That was.
You saw that hit me right. It attacked.
The mosquitoes.
Oh.
Yeah, when he said nerd, I had one bump here. I was like, ugh. But that was the first anime I remember watching.
Yeah.
Amazing. I still love the first season. It's very.
I do too. SAO is really good.
It's really nostalgic for me, dude. Crossing Fields by Lisa. Oh, amazing. Bluebird for Naruto Shippuden. For me, I love Japanese music. It's not just solely openings. Like, I listen to other artists because something about music in me just resonates. I love it. Of course, you don't understand most of it, but there's something within it that just, it's your Goku moment. Music is just something that draws me to memories, to remember things. Like, I remember when Attack on Titan Season 2 came out, running to the TV in the living room, turning it on, opening, oh, people are gonna feel so nostalgic for this one, turning on Kiss Anime, going to that website.
That's funny. Quick for me, I didn't learn about Kiss Anime until until after I started getting back into anime. When I watched Naruto all the way through. That's the only reason I watched every 14 episodes.
Oh my gosh, that was such a long thing. Like,
but I loved every single one of them. I even liked the filler stuff. Like, it was
even the boat arc.
Yeah.
You were psychotic.
Because it gave I don't know, it gave like, not progression, but it gave, it did build the other characters. Okay. Other than Naruto.
Yeah, with Yamato, because I remember Yamato was on the bus, on the boat, and there was Kakashi. But it's just like, see, for me, when you said like, oh, watching Naruto, I remember during summer being in my grandparents' living room on my crappy Lenovo computer that would break like every 6 months, and I'd go take it in and get fixed, and then it would renew the warranty because I took it in during that time. It would start again, always breaking. Literally in the corner, squished between a plant and the couch, plugged into the wall, just binge watching Naruto Shippuden. Literally just watching it for as long as I can, and I love those memories. And I can remember like the Bluebird opening for one of them.
Yeah.
The other openings I kind of skipped. We'll go into that topic later because there's some bangers, and then there's some where I'm like, okay, these are fine. Yeah. But it just always brings me back. And so when I turned on Kiss Anime for Attack on Titan Season 2, I remember hearing Sasageo, and I put Sasageo, like every time I heard, like I immediately went to my phone, put it on my YouTube, and I would blast my eardrums out because of it. Kids don't do that. I have tetanus because of that, so I have a hum in the drum. But that is just special moments that I'm like remembering. Even the thrill, even thinking about it now, when they jump off the wall, it just brings me chills. And then just when it ramps up towards the end, that's why I love music with anime, because it brings out so much emotion, and you don't even understand the words. You eventually look them up, but you're just like, it's just this emotional connection that anime can give you.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the only mediums where you can get that. Mm-hmm. Other than maybe a book. Books also do that too.
Books do that too.
Yeah, but again, animes, that's probably why I love them so much, because they do watch like books. Mm-hmm. Right? They unfold, they character develop. I really hate how they're doing like 12 episode seasons now, because you don't get the character build out the way you used to. Do you need 500 episodes? No. Do you need One Piece? No. But having a good 200 episodes, solid.
Okay.
Like maybe like a Dragon Ball Z Kai.